Miss Linda, our evaluator. Would you like to lead us all in a round robin for Renee?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, especially Renee, one of the things that I really enjoyed about your speech was how much you seemed to enjoy the story that you were telling us. You obviously were moved by a lot of those experiences, even though some of them weren't the most pleasant experience you could have. When you started out, you said that you were going to tell us the story of your vacation in 4 acts. And throughout your 4 acts, I was having a little bit of a struggle finding the thread that ran through the 4 acts. But at the end of it, it seemed to me that your first point was you work too much, but you don't take too many vacations. You haven't made a lot of friends, but you do have one friend. I wasn't so sure about the sail. It says you can't resist a sail, but you didn't go to Las Vegas. You made a different choice. Frontier
Airlines was having a sale.
I guess I missed that. So that was the other theme. And then what is the universe trying to tell me? And I guess I came to the conclusion that the universe is trying to tell you you should take more vacations. And that works so much. But I think that you may have been able to do a little bit of work and tie those 4 chapters together with some transitions. I think that would have helped me understand where we were going with your story. Through some of your speech, I love some of the hand gestures you used, but at the beginning, you spent a little bit of time standing doing this. And I wasn't sure if you were, what really that was about. I think that's one of the things that I personally struggle with. So I notice that a lot, is I a lot of times never know what to do with my hands. So maybe a little more intentionality around that would help you. Overall, I think it was a very interesting and enjoyable speech. I love the stories in themselves. I think each of them really could have been its own speech because there was so much context and content in there. The only other little thing I would say about your voice, you're always projecting, you're very enthusiastic, except once in a while at the end of the sentence you drop your voice down. And there were a couple sentences that I didn't hear the end of. So I would have appreciated a little more punch at the end to make sure that as an audience member I can hear the last little bit of your sentence. Because I think some of those were maybe gems that I lost. So I'd turn it over to other folks.
Well, I think this is a fun concept, my vacation in 4 acts. And I like that the different acts that you chose, I want you to be more specific or perhaps more direct. I'm not sure what I should call it. For instance, when you're a friend. It's an amusing anecdote about the fact that the Chinese say rats don't have friends. But you aren't necessarily, all that way. I think it could have been more effective to tell us more about your friend. About, you moved tons of times when you were younger, and you don't have a lot of friends who you've had for more than a few years, but one, and told us more about this friend. Because you're going to go visit him. If we think, well, this is a single person that you remember, we want to know more about that relationship. So I thought that the concept was great. I want you to maybe pay more attention to the thread so that it stays really good. Rat didn't have anything to do with your vacation, but your friend did. So pay more attention to your thread. And I suggest Velcro, especially on this floor. If you use Velcro on the bottom of your shoes, you might not pace. See, it will help you. You just won't be able to pick. Hush. Notice? You just wouldn't pace quite as, I had a sheet on the back that I held up for you, but I don't think you saw it. It said pacing. But if you just focus a little more on the thread and that, I think that would be fun and great.
Diane?
I did think it was an interesting structure with the 4 different chapters. I didn't know where you were going with it, so that might have helped me a little bit. But it reminded me of sometimes you read these books with stories that seem like they don't relate at all, and then in the end, it kind of comes together. So from that perspective, it was a really interesting way to look at the speech.
Yeah, I like the despair elements. I like catching on. Oh, that's how this is going to fit together. This is how these are. Even though I will agree that every so often I was going, where is this going? And perhaps that made catching on more fun. And I guess I would say in terms of responding to Chris's don't please, just put your four pieces in different places.
I know you tried that, but you went back and forth to the places in between each.
So,
Perhaps you have 4 things that the universe is trying to tell you, one for each act. Maybe it's not just that you need to take more vacations, but also form more lasting friendships,
I'll follow
not
up more
separated so
often.
much to sales, and what was the fourth one?
don't work so much.
Don't work so much.
Oh, but I would say the sales were.
Yeah.
I want to take Florida too.
Oh,
Well,
It was a really good sale.
Nothing, piggybacking on that, I think if you share that learning at the end, it's sort of, for me, it would help, it's like, why am I listening for me? You know, I can hear that you learn these things, but if you talk about these things, I think, oh yeah, well, that would be helpful for me to think of too. So sharing that learning at the end and sort of helping tie it up allows me to have a bigger takeaway. Which I think has some good thoughts in there that are worth thinking.
What I kept thinking was, I'm missing the dialogue between you and me. It was all about you explaining instead of, you've never done that before. You've never seen a sale at Frontier and went, I'm in! You know, that type of thing of just engaging me, because it's really that dialogue that you're trying to create with the audience.
so Renee, I heard contradictory opinions about the thread with the 4 acts. It worked to an extent, it didn't work for other people, so maybe just thinking about what works for you and going with that. Some ideas about interacting with the audience, some ideas about your use of stage. So a lot of suggestions, and helping Chris be more engaged in what works for, how he could learn from your experience. So a lot of suggestions.
At the airport at least an hour ahead of time.
So a lot of good suggestions, a really entertaining speech. I think you met some of your objectives for the entertaining speech, and as always, I really enjoy hearing what you have to say.
All righty. Now, in order to help our members grow and learn to be flexible and do things on the fly,